This is Get Real with Bob and Stacey, the show that helps you learn about the mortgage and real estate markets. Get the inside scoop from their expert list of guests and have some fun along the way. Now, here's Bob Gallagher and Stacey Alcorn.
Welcome back. You're listening to Get Real with Bob and Stacey. You're joining us for our Leaders and Legends segment. Our guest for this segment is Giovanni DeCunto, Global Expressionist. Welcome to the show, Giovanni.
Oh, thank you.
So Giovanni has basically spent his life ever since he was 7 years old painting. So he's built his life and career by painting some amazing works that are famous. They're in museums around the world. And so Giovanni, I know one thing that you are celebrating recently is you're being given the keys to the city in Lawrence. Why are they honoring you, and what does it mean to you?
Well, I don't know why. I just got off the phone with my cousin. He said because you actually proved how you started, what your dreams were. You're actually following your dreams, and he said that is sort of a blueprint for people to It's like they can, if you follow your dreams, you're sure to be a success, because if no matter how many times you win, lose, or fail, I think when you live up to who you are, you're winning.
Mm-hmm. Because what's interesting, who are some of the other names that have received the keys to the city in Lawrence?
Robert Frost, Leonard Bernstein. They gave me there's two other names: the Godsfeld guy, mm-hmm. and the singer, and some politician guy.
That's great.
I have a short attention span. Mm-hmm. They gave me the list, and I just started to veer off into Neverland.
I had a set of keys to a house in Lawrence, but it's not quite the same thing.
Well, now that they gave me the keys, as soon as they give me the keys, they're going to have to change all their locks. They should start thinking about changing their locks there.
So what is your goal with the art that you make and your paintings? Do you have a specific goal in mind with each piece that you do?
Well, I mean, each piece is a challenge. I'm sort of like a Steve Jobs kind of guy without a mission statement. It's like I follow what's in front of what's in. I'm on a journey, and
mm-hmm.
these things come in my path, and I'm sort of like that Crunchy Man, that game Pac-Man or whatever, and they eat the stuff as it's going up and keeps going up. I just get what's in front of me, mm-hmm. basically, and I've never really set out to market what I'm doing. I just sort of take the problems. I see everything as a problem, by the way. So
mm-hmm.
Even when I have visions, I can see my paintings that it presents itself to me, and I have to figure out what it is, why it is, who is it. It's like the celebrities or the people that have made change in the world. Those people that I paint, I investigate them to length, and they become part of who I am, and mm-hmm. it builds that part of me. I think, as far as goals go, I just want the next painting to be better. I want to be a better version of who I am. Mm-hmm. I try not to compete with other people, because when you compete with other people, you sort of take on who they are instead of what your responsibilities are to yourself.
That's interesting. So I know in your career, your work has been featured in museums around the world and some pretty amazing places. Is there any one instance in your career that you ended up getting your piece into a museum or a certain location where you said, wow, how did I get here?
I think every single one.
Yeah.
It's because I stumble. This is a funny little story. I did my graduate work at the University of Padua, and while I was there, before I was there, I was a senior in college, and I had been up for the presidential portrait in the President of the United States. So I went down and I, went through that whole rigmarole with them. But then I found myself in Italy studying with all these. I didn't study painting. I studied civilization development, and it was pretty interesting because the first day that I was there, I said, that museum, I want to be in that museum. They said, well, that museum closed in 1490. No other paintings have been in there, and it's closed up. So the whole time I was there, I kept going back to that museum because I figured, and this may be a little ironic, but I just thought that if I was going to ever do something that would start a rebirth, and I mean that's a tall order, I would have to be in that museum because that museum had Donatello, it had Michelangelo, it had Botticelli, Petrarch, you name it. They're all they all had something to do with building that collection. So it was like second to the last day that I was going to leave. I had finished my stint there, and I had a few words with the guy. Well, I saw him in the square and blah, blah, blah. We exchanged words back and forth. Well, by the time I got home, they said I was in the collection. And when I had to go back to America to actually do the painting and bring it back. That was the biggest, one of the biggest surprises.
Wow. That's awesome. So I know over the years you've painted, your paintings, you've done a portrait of Lionel Richie, which is in his house. You've done Shaquille O'Neal. You have
Lionel Richie. I think he was probably on tour because we got a picture of him in the middle of the night pointing to the painting. So when he got it back, it was like I got a text from one of my friends who had something to do with doing that painting. It was, you can go on with the list if you want.
So I know you've done all kinds of famous people. How do they learn about your work? Is it that they're just finding it through the internet or seeing it in museums?
Yeah, I'm not really sure,
You don't care. They're just finding it.
I'm not really sure. I don't ask that many questions,
Yes.
Because as soon as I get to do somebody, I'm already invested in trying to understand how they got to where they, that's how I've learned to grow. It's sort of. I take on it's not being an actor, but it's sort of, I just try to learn everything about them, and everything that's positive, I try to adapt into my personality and try to bring everything forward,
So tell us about, we have in the Boston marketplace, David Ortiz, who's a popular Red Sox player, is retiring, and I understand that you have a partnership that you're working on with David.
Yes, I am, and I'm pretty proud of that fact because the more I learn about that man, the more in awe I am because not only is he a good slugger on the field, he's got over 500 home runs, but he also raises money to have kids have operations in his hometown country, and he actually, if a kid calls him or writes to him, he addresses every single letter. It's amazing. And I think he's a great role model. What happened with the marathon bombing? I had painted that. One of my friends from Denmark actually owns that painting, but right at that same time, Ortiz was up in the stadium telling people what he thought.
Wow. So you painted him. When will the general public get to see what that painting looks like?
I think sometime in the fall it's going to come out. I haven't, I have the painting here. I wish this was TV. I'd give you a little glimpse, but
we wish it was TV too.
Yeah, well, there you go. You know, I would have dressed up more too.
So I know that you had your studio in the north end of Boston for many years and recently moved. Tell us about your new location.
Well, I was in the North End. I lived in the North End for like 20 some odd years, but I had a studio in South Boston in part of that time. But the last 9 years, I had a studio in a grammar school, and I could hear the kids through the walls. You know, it was very like every morning they would start playing their instruments, and to some people, you know, if they came in. A few people got annoyed at the sound, but I sort of liked it because, you know, it was like kids learning how to express themselves. So, you know, and I will walk outside sometimes, and the little kids will yell out my name. You know, it's kind of cool. So now I'm in the leather district. It's in the more financial side of the city, and I actually have a storefront with a workspace in the back. So it's sort of designed after like turn of the 19th century art studios that right around the time that the academy started to fall apart in Europe. So I designed this in the same way where I'm displaying art in the front and actually doing the work in the back. So what's old is new again.
All right, going back to how you've built your business. So you've built an extremely successful career as a painter, doing what you love, creating art. There are so many people out there, I think like school-aged kids, that get discouraged from choosing that path. So they might have an artistic talent, but traditionally they're being pointed towards business or learning a trade. So first of all, how would somebody know that they have enough talent to actually turn it into a business? And what advice do you have for somebody
This is the best question. This is the best question so far. All right, because it actually, like, you know, every child, I think, and every person has the ability to be very creative, you know, and follow their brain. Because it's like what Steve Jobs says is the next thing that's coming up is you follow your nose. You don't follow like a trend. You don't follow like what's happening to the person next to you. You actually follow what you're thinking. And if you know, if I think kids do that when they're unhampered. You know, I mean, some kids will go and copy the kid next to them. It's human nature. But the kids that are actually like, I think, more willing to like hear their own voice and follow their path. I think they're going to be a little more happy. I think when you don't follow who you are, you get resentful from other people. I think when you don't follow who you are, you sort of compete with other people. Yeah, I think when you don't follow who you are, you're not as happy.
So did you have
you can find happiness because like if you follow who you are, you're actually following that voice in your head, and that voice in your head can be interpreted as God. You know, because God said like, be like me. You know, like, you know, when you're following that voice, it's your nature, it's your reason, like, for being on the planet. And when you fall back from that, I think what happens is you start taking on guises of other things that are foreign to your nature, and it starts to corrupt the and falsify like who you are and what your possibilities are. So I think it's really important with kids is to, like, you got to leave them alone to a certain extent because they already know what they're going to be. I know that sounds kind of like weird, but like that's what I've come up. I mean, I don't have kids, so like, you know, I can't tell people that have kids what they should do with their kids, but like, kids know what they want.
So we only have about 2 minutes left, but when you were growing up, first of all, you grew up in Lawrence, Massachusetts. You didn't come from a lot of money. You came from a working class family. Like, did you have friends and family that discouraged you from moving towards your passion?
Well, I went to like a lot of different grammar schools because I kept getting thrown out because I was always doing my drawing. I mean, my father was a schizophrenic, so he went into the hospital early on, and I just started following what I figured there was only one way out of there, and I just like that was like what. For lack of a better word, what God had in store for me, and I just followed it. And I mean, it's been rough at certain points, but like those days are only days because like when you're following who you are, you always have a certain amount of there's a clear, you can always see the clear path, you know. So. And it keeps you from being like somber.
Yes.
And has you look forward to tomorrow.
Yes. All right. Awesome stuff. For anybody that wants to find Giovanni or follow his work, his website is giovannidecunto.com. You can also find him on Facebook and Instagram. We'll have to have you back because we didn't even get into all the good stuff yet. But congratulations on the keys to the city, and we look forward to having you back on another show.
Thanks, Giovanni.
Thank you.
We're going to take
See you guys.
take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more Get Real after this.